Hi. Welcome to Roland Pruitt's Kaiju Review. I'm Roland Pruitt, and this is episode number 19. And I forgot to turn my ring light on. and we are going to do Godzilla's Revenge on this show, which is also actually originally called All Monsters Attack. Both of these titles make no sense for this film. You're going to find out when we go through our timeline on it why. There's really only, basically Godzilla and Minya and Gabra, which is this was the only movie that they did Gabra in, and well, there it is. And then there's some stock footage that they use from previous films for this. They really cut the budget on this. It is directed by Ishiro Honda. And it's one of his favorites, evidently. He really has a soft spot for this film, or had a soft spot in this film for this film in his heart. I guess because it was made for kids and it has a good message to it. But let me go ahead and bring up my my able-bodied assistants, Anastasia and Professor Wallnott. There we go.
Hello. Hello.
You trimmed your beard.
Yes, I did. Yes, I started to look a little. I didn't think it was very professional looking at me, so I thought, oh well, new year, and yes.
Okay, I'm looking kind of. I'm not looking peculiar because of your beard. I'm looking peculiar because it looks like Anastasia is wearing a blonde wig in that picture.
It is hair dye. It is not wig. Don't make me cheap. There's nothing cheap about Anastasia, okay? This is a hair dye, very expensive, luxurious salon in New York City that I even traveled to do, to learn more about American way, to learn. And American men love the blondie. They love the blondie. And so it's must for me to
like
impress.
Color, the brunette was nice. Anyway.
Okay, I did not know. It's okay. It's quick fix.
Just surprised. That's all. I
did not know because in American movies they have blondie all the time. Everyone like blondie, and okay. Well, also it's quick fix. Don't worry. Next week will be no problem.
Well, we know who else is blonde on another show.
This is exactly what I'm trying to get to the nugget of this. You clearly like blondie, Roland, and you like blondie. So I will just, you have to give what is desired.
Okay.
I'm keeping up with the Joneses.
All right. Okay, so we're going to talk
about. Do you like blondie or you don't like blondie? Unclear instruction.
Yes, I have a girlfriend and her hair is blonde and it's very nice. But again, I thought your hair was very nice too.
It's nice that you talk about your friend who happens to be a girl. It's a very nice friendship that you have there. But for me, you're right. I agree. The brunette is my natural color. So why I don't need to be blondie. Very good. Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
All right.
I have no horse in this race, so I'm staying silent.
Well, I absolutely love your beard. I love your hat, but this. I always say how distinguished, how debonair you look, how sophisticated. Absolutely gorgeous. You're absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, and I do have to say that I like your blonde hair. I think it's quite.
Thank you. Why, thank you so much. You see, Roland, this is dapper, debonair man. He just give me compliment. He's very gentleman. Thank you so much, Professor. It is very scholarly of you to say so, very elegant. I appreciate you. We will talk more, outside of work, I think.
I look forward to that, yes.
You see, Roland, because sometimes you can appreciate something and then this thing will come closer to you if you appreciate this thing. So you have to watch and learn.
I'm doing okay. I'm all right. So Godzilla's Revenge, also known as All Monsters Attack. Let's go ahead and get our time. This is a Criterion collection. The Japanese version, that is. Very interesting. In the Japanese version, Minya has a kind of a kid's voice, but it's really a female voice. It's Midori Uchiyama. who was also a Keelak in the Destroy All Monsters, which was the last film. But in the English version, Riley Jackson does the voice of Manila. And it sounds kind of like Goofy. Godzilla says you gotta fight your own battles. It's kind of like that, so it's kind of weird. So here we have the opening credits. We have lots of great monster shots from earlier Godzilla films, and yeah, and then we get a shot of Gabra in the opening credits, which is a surprise because nobody knows who he is yet. So they start by showing the smog and the dirty, Japan is kind of going to hell in a handbasket with the pollution. They're going to do Godzilla versus the Smog Monster very soon to address this issue even further. And we meet our hero of the film, a little boy named Ichiro Miki. He's very lonely. He doesn't have many friends. And he's home all the time. His parents are always working. So he kind of, he's got a really, hefty imagination. And he likes to go off and dream that he's going to Monster Island to meet his hero, Minya, the son of Godzilla. Now, that kid in the red shirt, that little bully, that's Gabara, the kid, not the monster. There's two Gabaras in this film. And he pushes by Ichiro and the little girl that's with him. And there's the fat kid in the striped shirt. Looks like he should be in the Peanuts cartoon. And why do you let those guys bully you all the time? And that's the message of this: is don't let bullies bully you. Stick up for yourself. Tell them what's what.
That's right.
And again, this was the time when Ultraman was big on TV, so kids were like getting the monsters from Ultraman. So they decided to market this film strictly to kids. Unfortunately, that plan failed. This was one of the poorest earning Godzilla films at the box office. Didn't even sell 2 million tickets.
Well, it's like you said, a lot of it is just repurposed footage from previous films.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of those TV show episodes. I believe they're called clip shows, where they're trying to obviously save some money. And so they create some sort of framing story around clips from previous episodes. And this movie is the same thing.
Yeah. They did shoot a lot of original footage, and you do get a lot of monster action in this.
That's true, yes.
But yeah, they used a lot of footage from Godzilla, Son of Godzilla, and Godzilla versus the Sea Monster and Destroy All Monsters. So,
right. Yes.
So Ichiro's talking about, I'm going to go home, and mom's probably working, and he's a sad little kid.
Yeah. But he has a little girlfriend, which is kind of interesting. I mean, you don't see much of her, the story, but
yeah, I don't think. Yeah, you see her at the beginning and at the end. I don't think she's really a girlfriend. It's just like somebody walks to school with him because they live in the same building or something.
A friend who's a girl, I should. And they were holding hands, and also for people who might not know this, in Japanese culture, it's perfectly acceptable for children this age. I don't know how old they are. 8, 6, somewhere between 6 and 8.
Yeah.
To walk alone or with a group to and fro school, not
yeah, well,
buses or anything.
Back in the 60s, this is the late 60s, 69. In the 70s, you didn't have to worry about your children all that much. Children could walk to school, yes. or bicycle to school.
Right, yes.
By themselves, and you don't have to worry about them, Yeah. But now, different time.
Yeah. Now, this is a cute little scene here where he's telling his little friend here that how Minya, a truck drives by, and he's like, oh, that sounds like Minya. He makes that noise.
Yes. This is where we kind of get the first geek out, that he's into monsters. So, more shots of the pollution from the factories and the cars. and the fast-paced life. And his father is a train conductor or train engineer.
I mean, how cool is that?
And he is played by Kenshi Sahara, who is, one of the Toho regulars. He's in all of these films somewhere in the Showa series, and in some of the Heisei series as well. And his son looks up at him and goes, "Hey, son, your mom's got to work again tonight. She left dinner in the oven." One of those deals. Okay, Dad. So they go by the abandoned factory, which was big in the 60s, the abandoned factories. And he finds a test tube that he's going to put in this little home computer that he's making. It's not a real computer, but he thinks, it's his imagination,
Right,
he's doing something.
Yeah, it's a vacuum tube down there.
And his father, Kenkichi, is talking to one of his coworkers about how his poor kid, is alone all the time, and he's a loner, and he doesn't have many friends, and it kind of sets up the character. And he's a smoker. Then they read about a bank robbery. There's a bank robbery that happened, and they got a lot of money.
50 million yen.
50 million. That ain't that much. It's easy to be a millionaire in Japan. Because 1,000 yen, Japanese yen, is like $3.
Right.
It's not that much. Maybe $6. I don't know. It's not that much. So yeah, it's easy to be a millionaire in Japan. Even back then. So 50 million. So they go by a guy who's painting a billboard the old-fashioned way, and they're on their way home. That guy is actually played by another regular in this series, Yutaka Nakayama, who was in several other movies. He's in Rodan as the guy that loses his hat at Mount Aso. And he's the guy who is floating around with the diamond case. He's drunk in Dogora. So he's been on quite a few of these. And then Gavra shows up. There's Gavra in the red shirt, his hat cocked over his side, look badass. By the way, this show's not for kids, folks. We sometimes say things, that not for kids. And Gavra's gang, none of them look really overly imposing, except for maybe the fat kid.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them. So, it's like Ichiro doesn't want to get into a fight with a bunch of, like 50 little gnats that are going to be on him all the time, beating on him. So, he's like, "What do you got there?" "Just to give it to me." "It's mine." "You stole it." Typical kid react, stuff going on in the abandoned, warehouse yard, abandoned factory yard. And he ends up taking it from him, and he's a bully, and that sets that character up. Gabra. Then a police car goes by, I think. I'll go running after a police car. Bad kids. Because that's what you do when you're a bad kid. Police, let's go watch them. Ichiro gets home. And his neighbor, really nice guy, Shinpei Inami. He's an inventor. He's played by Hideo Amamoto, who we just saw a couple of weeks ago as Doctor Who in King Kong Escapes. He's done a lot of characters in these movies. He's in just about every Toho Kaiju film somewhere. He plays a lot of characters. But this is my favorite character of his. I really like this character. I don't know why. I'm not a big fan of this movie. It's not one of my favorites, but I really liked his character. He's just a really nice guy. He's a nice neighbor.
Yes. He's a bit of a Willy Wonka, but with kids' toys.
Yeah, he's making a kid's computer.
It's like, so now we know that he's the one who actually invented the Apple Mac.
Japanese.
Japanese version, yes.
So yeah, it's a teaching computer, and he shows it a thing about the moon, and they show a little shot from Destroy All Monsters of the Moon base. They're just reprocessing everything. And he's like, well, taking to Monster Island, because that's all he thinks about. It's a one track record, and he's like, no, I didn't think about that. Maybe you could help me put that in here. And he goes, yeah, I can help you in the monster noises, because we already know he does monster noise impressions. So he burns his foot on a soldering iron, and the kid comes back and goes, is that a monster sound? He goes, no, I just burned my foot. It's, a little comic relief. But Cher gets home, gets a note from his mom, gets dinner out, starts watching a little TV. Bored with that, he pulls out his computer that he's making. And it's a cardboard box with a bunch of knobs glued on it, and he's got a little, piping, as an antenna. And he's got some other test tubes that he's pulled in. And he's like, okay, I'm going to Monster Island. How do I get there? I'll take a plane. And then he starts dreaming, and he's on a plane, and it's going to Monster Island. It's funny, all these old films, they had Pan Am planes. Remember Pan Am? It was airline service way back in the day. They went out of business like in the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
But I love it when these 60s movies and 70s, 50s, 60s, and 70s movies, they all had Pan Am planes. Kids today don't even know what that is. It was before Delta. So everybody disappears on the plane, and Shiro's on there by himself. So they must have jumped out. He goes to the front cockpit. Nobody's flying the plane. It's remote controlled, which is kind of weird. And then this is when we realize, oh, this has got to be a dream. That and a little kind of filter around him kind of clues us in.
Or a Twilight Zone episode. We're not quite sure at that.
Submitted for your approval. A lonely Japanese boy wants to go to meet Godzilla.
Exactly.
And there's Monster Island. Actually, that's Sparrow Island. I recognize it. What's Mothra Island? Infant Island. That's Infant Island. Hey, come on. More reprocessed footage. And then they negative shot him, and then he's on the island. He must have parachuted in. And Godzilla is fighting the Kamacuras from Son of Godzilla. Down. They got a new, cheaper, even cheaper than Mato Sato, I guess, to do the music for this. And it's a really kind of jazzy, there's a lot of like little kid kind of music. And then they got this jazzy music for the fight scenes.
I've watched. Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I watched both the American version and the Japanese version of this movie.
Yes.
And I can't decide which one had the worst theme music. the annoying kid voiced Japanese version. Go Godzilla!
That's actually supposed to be Minya singing.
Yeah, but
go Godzilla! Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I really like the jazz song that they picked for the I like the one for Godzilla's Revenge. I mean, it's catchy, and you can find it on YouTube. It's a jazz tune, and it's on YouTube. And if you type in Godzilla's Revenge, it'll pop up. But it doesn't. It's not. That's not the name of the track. It's actually a jazz track that they bought and used, and it works. For kids. I mean, it's jazzy.
Yeah.
So here he's climbing up a tree and he sees, Anguirus and Gorosaurus, who he calls Brosaurus, and Manda. And then we get the giant condor scene from I guess that was Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, right? No, that was Son
of Godzilla.
No, Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. I'm right.
Oh.
The condor scene, that one, yeah.
That's right, because it just seems so out of, like, where did this condor just suddenly appear out of nowhere?
Game shows up. Hey, it's Monster Island. So we get that reprocess scene, and we get little shots of Ichiro reacting to it to make it seem like it's happening now and not 3 years ago. And of course, Godzilla zaps him with his breath, and he's, roast turkey. Splashes in the water. Because that's what kaiju do after Godzilla kills them. They fall into the water.
Oh, yep.
And then the Kamakura comes close to Ichiro, and he runs, and he falls into a cavern. Now, he falls and falls and falls and falls and falls very, very long way, and he barely hurts his butt when he lands. So it's got to be a dream.
Yeah. Very
would have been splat.
Oh yeah.
Very
very Alice in Wonderland here.
Yeah. So he's like, gosh, how am I going to get up there? And there's the Kamakura looking down at him.
Lunch?
They'll make me come down there.
Snack?
So he's looking up there, and he's like, maybe I should try climbing. And he's trying to climb, and he slips, and he doesn't know how he's going to get up. And then a kind of a vine rope comes down to him in the next line. No, that's him slipping.
Okay. There we go.
And maybe there's a delay with me because the rope hasn't come down yet, I don't think.
Oh, all right.
There it is.
There it is.
So the rope comes down, he grabs it, and it pulls him up, and it turns out to be none other than the person he's looking for, Minya, called Manila or Monira in Japan. We should have had George on this show. And he's like, gosh, it's you. What you been doing? Hey, what you doing here? And again, it's a very silly. And in the Japanese version, it's the little, boy voice. Hey, yo. Now, Manila is played by, they call him Machan the Dwarf. and one of the translations of that is Little Man Machan. That's the guy that plays Minya. He's short, And he's also played by Mashiko Harai in a couple of scenes. But Little Man Machan was the one that played it in Son of Godzilla and Destroy All Monsters. And it's kind of weird that a guy would advertise himself as a dwarf. I'm Machan, the dwarf. So they go around the island looking around, see what they see. And he's saying, I got to talk to Dad. Dad wants me to fight my own battles. That kind of thing. And it's just a really, really distracting voice for this kind of picture. And I'm thinking that the woman's that sounds like a kid's voice is probably better. It is.
It
doesn't sound so goofy.
Yeah.
And then Gabra shows up.
Gabra, yep.
A lot of people bust on Gabra because he's in this movie, but he's actually a very cool looking monster to me. I think he's a very cool kaiju. I wish that they had brought Gabra back in a, like a real kaiju film, that doesn't have a bunch of kids running around. As like an alien, because he's got a cool kind of, he zaps you with, by touching you. He's got like an electrical zap taser kind of thing that he does, which is cool. And so, I could see him coming in and like Gigan versus Godzilla. If Gigan came in with Gabra instead of King Ghidorah, so we're not using King Ghidorah again. That would have been cool. But anyway, they didn't use him again. They never used him again. Not even in 2004. That would have been cool to see him in 2004 too. He's got this bumpy kind of skin because he's actually a toad mutant. But he's got like a cat face, which is weird. And he's very tall. He's extremely tall. So he's a very imposing bully of kaiju, So yeah, I could definitely get off on, seeing him in another movie again, but being a badass, not being, something that all the monsters are kicking around.
Right.
I kind of like King Caesar for the same reason. You know, he's just kind of a badass. He's tall and he can fight, and you know, just a cool kaiju. But we only got him one more time. You know, we only got him in Godzilla Wars again. You know, which is kind of sad. So there he is, lumbering off because they hide like cowards. And then the phone rings and wakes Ichiro up. And it's his mom. And she's like, I've got to work late again. Oh, no, wait a minute. Hold on. She's talking to the neighbor.
Right.
So, I mean, why did Ichiro wake up? Why did he hear the phone? For one reason, because it's in the apartment couple of doors down. And why did it wake him up?
Walls must be very thin.
Yeah, paper thin walls in Japan. Because that's Inami's phone. I always wondered about that. Like, wait a minute, if that was in his apartment, why did Ichiro wake up and it couldn't go back to sleep?
Yeah.
Editors, damn you. Maybe she called Ichiro first and then called Inami. But Inami comes and tells him what the mom said. Hey, you know, you're eating dinner at my house tonight. Gonna make teriyaki beef, your favorite. And this kid can eat too. It's funny. This guy is like an old man now. This kid, but he goes to the conventions and signs autographs and stuff. You know, here in America and all. But he's like an old man. And the kid from Smog Monster, who's not much younger than him, also does the same thing. Cool. He was also in Smog Monster, and he was in what's the other movie he was in? Megalon. Megalon. Not this kid, the other kid. That was his claim to fame. This was the only one this kid did. And he's walking along the street and he runs into Gavra's gang again. Go! And they, you know, start to mess with him. And he runs off. Oh, they tell him that they want him to honk the horn on the guy's motorcycle that's painting the billboard. And he won't do it. And there's the abandoned factory. And as we all know, there's a bat villain in there.
Of course. This is always.
Actually, what's in there is the two robbers who stole 50 million yen. And he's in there looking for stuff, and he finds a nice headset, but he also finds a passport. And it turns out to be one of the bank robbers' passports. Oh!
It's his driver's license.
Oh, is it driver's license? Looks like a passport. It's a book.
Yeah. No, because the boss robber tells him, "Oh, you drop your driver's license down the hole when you're looking at the kid."
Oh, dude. The two bank robbers were played by, again, veterans of these films. Sachio Sakai, who was the news reporter in the very first Godzilla film, and he plays a character in just about everything Toho did. And the other bank robber, Okuda, the first bank robber with the dark hair is Senbayashi. And Okudo is the dumb one, the guy that drops his license. And he's played by Kazuo Suzuki, who's in a lot of the Godzilla films as well, playing different characters. The one that probably is the best titled character is in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monsters. He's the guy that picks the lock, and he does the little thing with his hands before he picks the lock. And it's got something strange, and you on IMDb like competent lock picker or something like that. Wait a minute, let me see if I can pull it up. It's really funny. Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Show off door opener. That's what he is. Show off door opener assassin. Not only a show off door opener, but an assassin.
Yeah. Well, he did show off.
So I thought that always tickled me. Anyway, so he looks very different in this because his hair's long in this. And Kazuo Suzuki usually does comical roles, but he's like a really nasty villain in this. He's really I'm not gonna say badass, but he's just like this angry, nasty, gnarly guy. And he's wearing sunglasses all the time, even at night. So, and he like, threatens the kid with a knife and all throughout the movie. So, this actually should be traumatizing for Ichiro, but kind of weird that they went this direction with this. But anyway, so Ichiro goes back home, and his landlord is trying to sell this car outside the building, and Ichiro's playing with the car, and it's funny in the Japanese version, he's got like this rough, tough landlord voice. Hey, stay away from the car. But in the English version, he's got kind of this foppish kind of, hey, stay away from the car. Don't do that, you. Stop it. I just like, why did they choose that? Why did they go that route? Anyway, it's just a complete different character. Hi, you looking at the car you want to buy? Want to come in for some sake? No, I got to get back to my van the factory.
Just turned this into a whole different movie.
So the guy looks up, and Okuda looks up, and he sees Ichiro bringing some clothes in off the line out back. In Asia, that's what they do. They don't have dryers. They all just hang their clothes out the back window. There's a little patio there. They hang their clothes up. So now he's having dinner with Anami, and he's eating real good because he wants to dream and go to Monster Island again. But as you know, if you eat too fast before you dream, you're going to have a nightmare. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be a good dream.
I mean, Anami's such a good host. I mean, he's giving the kid food.
Yeah.
Telling him he's going to make him his assistant. You're going to be my kid tester for all my toys.
Yeah. Again, nice guy.
Yeah.
He's comic relief here, but he's a nice guy. And again, very different from all the other characters he's played in the other movies. I mean, if you really weren't looking, you wouldn't even tell that it was the same guy. He's got some kind of gnarly teeth, which makes him a really good character actor. Yeah. Like he's missing like some teeth on the left-hand side. So it kind of makes him interesting to look at, his characters. A detective and his assistant show up. They're played by Yoshifumi Tajima, who's in a lot of the Godzilla films, and Chitaro Togen, who's in quite a few as well, is the younger detective. And they're looking for the bank robbers. And so we know the police are on the job. They're close by and they're on the job. So he says, I'll meet you later at the bar, okay? Wink, wink. He doesn't say that, but that happens later on in the film. They go to a bar and they meet up again. Let's hope the landlord doesn't show up. Can I buy you a drink? Sorry. So Chihiro's like, okay, you guys have fun. I'm going to go off to Monster Island. And we can do the positive, negative thing again. Anastasia, what do you think about that landlord? There she is.
Why are you asking me this question? Are you jealous?
What? About the landlord?
It seems like you're a little jealous, I'm liking this very much. This is a good turnaround from the start of the show. I'm warming up to this considerably.
Again, I just saw you disappear. I just thought I'd get a little input from you on something.
Well, that's what you see. You miss me. You can say you miss me. I will stay on screen now. I am appeased. I am totally appeased. Well done. I love it. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm here.
So, what do you think of the landlord?
In what capacity? I don't understand.
Do you think he's funny or
funny looking? Funny in personality?
Oh, by the way, I call him Sheki, the guy that plays the landlord, because his name is Shigeki Ashida. And again, he plays little characters here and there in the Godzilla films. He never plays a really big character. This is probably the biggest thing he ever had in the films. And then Gabra shows up, so it's a nightmare. He's running away from Gabra. Gabra. That's how he sounds. That's my Gabra impersonation.
That was brilliant. It was like I was immersed in the movie cinematically.
Thank you. And there he is. He's Minya sitting there on a rock, and he's waiting for him. Hey, where have you been? And I'll introduce you. That's my favorite line where he goes, I want to meet your dad too. I'll introduce you. And he's got the headset on. A lot of the publicity photos for this film actually had him wearing that headset. I don't know why, but
it looks kind of cool. And of course, this is the infamous scene where Godzilla says, I have to fight my own battles.
I gotta fight my own battles,
It's my favorite part of the other show. They had that in the opening. It's my favorite part.
That was the last shot, I think from like season 4. Maybe season 3. And then Godzilla roars, and they go, "Oh, hey, let's go watch him. Let's go watch him. He's probably gonna fight somebody." So they go off to watch, and it's stock footage of him fighting Ibira. Now, when this happened in Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, it was raining and it was night. But it's supposed to be daytime here now. But it is a dream, so it got overcast real quick, is what I'm saying. They'll never notice.
The little brats, they won't know. Oh, sorry, that was my American impression.
They don't care. They don't care if it's day or night. Monsters fighting. Come on.
That's right.
So, okay, we can breeze through this because we saw this a couple of weeks ago. Splashing. And we get some reaction shots of Ichiro and Minya. And now you see we cut to the day shot where the second fight starts, and he takes his claw off. So it went from night to day like real quick. And then Godzilla walks off, and they try to follow, and it turns into a different Godzilla. This is the Godzilla with the tiny head. This is the mother Godzilla, I think. And we get to the fight of Spaiga or Kumunga and Godzilla. And he, sticks him in the eye, shoots webbing on him. And Minya tries to blow his fire breath, and then he blows a smoke ring on him. And then Godzilla zaps him with his fire breath, and it's game over. Oh, no. He's shooting web at him again. I'm sorry, I thought it was game over, but I guess not.
No.
Godzilla's the one with the bad breath. That was a great line from the movie, too. So Godzilla zaps him again with his breath. Does he go over this time? I think so.
Yeah.
Then Gabra shows up.
And then this guy.
It is like I am sitting in the theater and we have full audio track.
Dolby stereo, baby.
You call me baby. You see, this is turning right around in my favor. Wonderful.
THX sound. I think I recognize that tree from King Kong Escapes. I'm honest. That looks like the set from King Kong Escapes where Gorosaurus fights Kong. That's the tree he puts Linda Miller in, I think. I just realized that just now.
Yes.
I think it is.
Right. Yes. You'd almost see her right there. Yeah.
There she is on the branch, going like this.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. That's so funny that I just saw that just now. So he's like, well, I got to find him. Godzilla would think I'm a coward. And he goes up and he goes, he'll kill you. And he goes off to fight him, and he can make himself big and small. That's one of the things he gains in this film. He goes, yeah. He gets big. He gets big, and then he goes, well, I mean, he's not big compared to Gabra, but he's big compared to Ichiro.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes,
and we get this wonderful shot of his crotch.
Yes. That there is a dwarf Machan penis right there. Looks like he's got a vagina, actually.
It's exactly.
and he blows a smoke ring, which is annoying. Gabra is played by Yu Sakita. And he's a taller actor, and they put a nice big tall neck head apparatus. Actually, he's looking through the neck. They do this for the Godzilla suit now too, or in most of the movies. Godzilla had to look through his neck. There's like slits in the neck where you can look through. Makes him taller. So he's getting thrown around by Gabra. And then Godzilla comes and watches, I think, doesn't he? Yeah. No, Gabra just clobbers him, and then he runs away, and then Gabra walks off. It's like, okay, I beat his ass. He walks off. Then the planes come for no reason.
Just random attack.
You know what? Let's go to Monster Island and shoot at the monsters. Oh, there's Godzilla. Let's shoot at him. So again, this is reprocessed from Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. Half that movie is in this movie. This movie's only like an hour and 10 minutes, I think. If I remember correctly. It's very short. That was probably the other reason why it didn't make a lot of money. Because people are like, hey, you only 70 minutes? What? And it's half of the movies we've already seen. So yeah, the planes fire at him, and yeah, it's the more Muppety looking Godzilla. But at least he looks like more like the Godzilla that we have now. But yeah, they just switched heads on the Godzilla in that spider scene. Yay, he did it. Yay. And then Godzilla sees Minya with Ichiro. He's like, hey, who's this? Oh, no, he says, come on, I want to show you how you do your fire breath. And we have the scene where he's showing him how to do the fire breath. And he steps on his tail and makes it, he's fire. And it's a father-son moment.
Look what I did.
And then Godzilla moves towards Ichiro. He backs up, and then a tree grabs him. And it's the bank robbers. They wake him up. They've come to his house. They've kidnapped him. They're going to take him with them as a hostage. So they can get away. So they can get out. And because he saw the driver's license, they don't know how much he knows.
And he is. He's just menacing him with that knife. I mean, it's awfully close to his face.
Yes. Hey, kid.
I'll cut you.
You make a peep, I'll cut you. I don't think he actually says that, but something like that.
Yeah.
I'll stick you like a pig. So we go to the bar, and there's the detectives. They're not on duty. They don't have their helmets on. And they meet up with Inami. Inami goes down there to get a little sake. And the bartender is none other than Ikio Sawamura, who, again, is a little old man that plays a little character in every Godzilla film somewhere. He's just a little lecherous-looking man. He plays great characters. And he's like, woo, $50 million, nana, woo. He's all excited when they start talking about the $50 million.
Yeah. Yes. Well, how much? How big would that be? Oh, it's in a case this big. Oh, big case. Wasn't he the taxi driver in Atragon?
Yes, he was. The taxi driver that shows up out of nowhere.
Right.
I saw the whole thing. From where? Where did you see it from? He's also the guy on the beach who's doing a little ceremony when they're going to get the giant egg in Mothra versus Godzilla. Right. He's the guy who has the princess's bracelet. She trades her clothes for the bracelet. She trades her bracelet for his dirty old man clothes.
Yeah. Including a dirty old man coat. And they call him like the honest beggar or something like that. I can't remember what it is. I'm an honest man. And he plays a lot of little characters in these movies. He's there. He's always there somewhere. Shiro Honda likes working with the same people, All right. So what do we got here? Oh, they've got Ichiro in the old factory, and he's trying to fool. He's hoping that the bank robber will fall into the hole. He's trying to make a little trap. The newspaper.
Oh, that's right. He puts the little newspaper over the hole there's a hole in the floor.
Fall down the hole. Fall down the hole. Fall down the hole.
And he's like, Mina, Mina, come and get me, Mina. And he actually falls asleep and goes to Monster Island again. But there's Gavra. Da, da,
That is a great
da,
design.
da, 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 da. Sorry. The music is just so different from everything else in the Godzilla series. And then he zaps him. We see Gavra's power, where the little horn on top of his head and the little hair lights up, and then his electricity shoots through his arms, down and through his fingers, and into the person he's clutching onto, which is kind of a cool power, really. And it paralyzes, the victim while he's beating the hell out of him. And then Ichiro throws a boulder down on his leg or something, and he fires his Godzilla breath and hits Gavra in the face. Bam! And that's actually a nice effect. I mean, they really do look like they blew up, a piece of his face. Like some splash powder. Then he does a little quick dodging and weaving moves and going under his arm and stuff. He's a slippery little devil. And this is where Godzilla shows up. And Minya goes right to him. Says, help me, Dad. And his dad throws him back out there. No, you help yourself. Come on, kid. Show me what you're made of. And very, very, the body language by Haru Nakajima is very, very clear. It's a father wanting his son to stand up for himself and face the bully.
Mm-hmm.
You're the son of Godzilla, by gosh. King of the monsters. Go show me what you're made of. So he goes out there and Gavra starts to beat him around again. And it's kind of embarrassing. And then Gavra uses the electric thing. And Godzilla is like, hey, that's cheating. I'm not going to let you do that. So he shoots him with his fire breath, shoots his feet. And then Gavra gets angry and starts to make a move towards Godzilla. Bad move. And Godzilla clobbers him. And then Ichiro goes, hey, Minya, come up here. Minya goes up there. And he goes, here's what I want you to do. When Gavra comes around here, see that log that's that giant log that's over that little crevice there? I'm going to give you the high side, and then you jump on that, and then we'll flip him over. Sure, that'll work. And that's what they do. Gavra comes around looking for him. He steps on the end of the log. He says, go! And Minya falls down there and lands on the other side of the log, and it's a giant catapult. Just catapults. And you could see him woo, 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 flying through the air. And you could see it's just like a mannequin in the Gavra suit. They just catapulted him through him over the side. Woo, woo, woo. Yay, we did it! Godzilla goes over, looks at him, and goes, yeah, see what my son did to you? Yeah. And Gavra bites his leg, which looks painful. Gavra's got some cat teeth now, man. Again, this is the 1968 Godzilla suit that they repurposed for Destroy All Monsters. They used it in 4 movies. It's probably the Godzilla suit that got the most mileage. And it's personally one of my favorites. And then he does a little judo move where he flips Gavra over his shoulder. One of the most impressive shots in the film. No, I'm sorry, that didn't come yet. So he starts to zap Godzilla with his electric power. And he's really laying on the juice, and then he flips him over. You can see upper hand. There it is. That's an upside down Gavra right there. Bam! That Gavra is lost again. So Gavra goes skulking off. Yay! And that's the last we see of Gavra. And then Godzilla comes to Ichiro's like, hey, what the hell is this? Did you bring me dinner? Bring me a snack? He's like, oh, no, I don't want to really meet you. You're radioactive. Again, no mention of the radioactivity. But he wakes up. Hey, kid, you're crying like a little baby. Come on, shut up. These guys are really bad to this kid. They really are. They just show no mercy. So Okuda knows how to hotwire a car. He goes and gets the landlord's car and hotwires it. I can see him the next day coming out. Hey, what happened to my car? Sorry. What am I seeing here?
Oh, well, they were trying to hotwire it, but it wouldn't start, and so they're looking under the hood, see what could possibly be the matter.
Well, he brings the car back, and then they try to start it again, and they've got a chair in the back seat, right?
Right.
And he's gagged and tied up, but he gets out of it, and he starts to remember Minya from Monster Island, and he fights. He tries to get away. Hey, kids, get away! And he bites Roy's hand. Sambayashi, go! Just like Minya bit somebody else's hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then he runs back into the factory. Go get a kid. We're going to kill him. And there's some back and forth in the factory. And then Inami shows up and sees the car and looks in the car and sees the bag of money. And he's like, oh, my God, it's a bank robbers. And he goes to a phone booth to call the cops.
Right. Well, it's actually his car that the landlord was just sort of selling it for him.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the landlord's car. Sorry.
Oh, this looks like my car. Hey, what's all this money doing here?
Yeah, there's no explanation as to why he's out walking in the middle of the night on the road that the empty factory is on. But anyway, I guess the bar was kind of far from the house. I walked out to the bar. So the Okuda does fall through the hole and he breaks his leg, or he twists his leg.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's still walking on it, kind of limping on it, but Senbayashi comes after Ichiro. He sees him and he comes after him, and Ichiro gets a fire extinguisher. And Ichiro sees him as he's approaching as being Gabara. So he gets that fire extinguisher and shoots him in the face with it. Now, this was back in a time, and I was just told this actually, that fire extinguisher, you could get it on you and it won't harm you at all. It won't hurt you. But now, fire extinguisher, what goes in a fire extinguisher is kind of an irritant to people's skin. It's not good to get the stuff on your face and on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So, different time, different chemicals. But it puts out a fire. So Ichiro runs out. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Inami shows up with the police. And they catch the bank robbers. You know, they're covered in that one is covered in, you know, fire extinguisher foam, and the other one is limping and trying to get away, and they get them. And the two detectives, were close by at the bar, so they were able to answer the call. And Inami's there. Now, in this scene, Ichiro breaks down and cries in Inami's arms. And but he is so strong, and before when he's fighting the criminals, and the next day he's like, yeah, I'm Mr. Badass. I caught the two bank robbers. You know, he's so this is kind of weird that he would cry like that. But again, To a normal kid, that would be traumatizing, you know, to have two guys waving knives at you, threatening to kill you all the time.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird that, the next day he's so confident and everything. Well, I guess in hindsight, everything's over. His mother is deciding that she's going to stay home more. She's not going to work all the time. We'll get by somehow. I'll make Dad work double shifts. And Ichiro grabs his bag, goes out the front door to school, and there's a ton of reporters waiting to talk to him about how he caught the bank robbers. And he goes, well, you know, Minya was there to help me. And they're like, Minya? And then Anami has to explain to him, well, you know, the kid is a geek, and he and he likes kaiju, and he thinks, you know, he's friends with Minya. He's a kid, you know. Something like that. I paraphrase, but it's something like that. So they're all like, oh, okay, he's a geek, he's a nerd. Oh, all right. Says the guy with glasses and, you know, so this 45-year-old guy with, you know, braces on his teeth. So Ichiro walks with his girlfriend, who is a friend, and she's a girl, down up the dirt road there. And they come across Gabra. And the minute Ichiro sees Gabra, he's like, I'm kicking your ass. He just busts into him, and there's a fight. He throws Gabra down, and we notice that Gabra has little pussy boy shorts. He's not really the bully he's making himself out to be. And he's crying. Ichiro has become a man. At 7. So the other kids, look at the reaction of the other kids. Whoa! He kicked Gabra's ass. And he kind of marches off. He marches over to the motorcycle guy, the painter's bike, and he says, I can't believe he got all of that out of that little horn. But the guy's like, hey, stop it. Oh! And he falls, and, you know, we get some sticky stick with the paint on the face and everything. Hey! And Gabra and his friends are like, wow, he's cool after all. He's one of us. So it's like the end of Grease, you know, Sandy becomes a slut. So the paint guy is like, he's like chasing after nobody because he's got paint all over his face and he can't see anything anyway. So they all run off. And Ichiro tells his dad, hey, Dad, this guy tells you that I did something bad. I did it, okay? All of a sudden, he's Louis Tully from Ghostbusters. Yeah, well, you know, my mom moved to Miami. Oh, okay, son. He's a cool dad. So Ichiro goes off and joins up with the rest of the gang. And he gets a switchblade and he becomes a delinquent. End of movie. Great story. Great message. And that's it. That's Godzilla's Revenge, a.k.a. All Monsters Attack. I don't know why they call it Godzilla's Revenge. He doesn't get revenge on anybody, does he?
There was no revenge that is my question. Where is revenge? I love revenge, you know, I love it. But where was it here? It wasn't here.
It was one monster attacking Minya, and then he gets his ass kicked by his dad. You know, I mean, it's not really all monsters attacking, but, you know. But there it is. That's what they call it.
They need to revise both of the titles.
Why not Ichiro on Monster Island?
There, that would seem more appropriate. Yes.
Lonely kid becomes a man. I don't know. So, all right.
As he rises through the ranks of the Yakuza.
there we go. Hey, this kid's good. Give him a tattoo. On the next show, we're going to do Yog, Monster from Space, also called the Space Amoeba. That's the 1970 film. Yog, Monster from Space. So I hope you guys will tune in for that episode 20. 25 episodes this season. We're going to go through the entire Showa series, all the way through Terror of Mechagodzilla. And then we'll start season 2 which will start on Thursdays very soon, with Godzilla Returns, which is also Godzilla 1985, 84.
85.
I think it's 85. Yeah, it was shot in 84, but it's 85. But the next one is Yog, Monster from Space, or the Space Amoeba. And then, of course, we got Hedorah, Gigan, Megalon, Mechagodzilla, and Terror of Mechagodzilla. Cool. So there it is. That's the rest of the season coming up.
All right. Well, I certainly look forward to it.
There he is. Godzilla's Revenge.
Yep. Lock me up, will ya?
Yeah, you want to lock me up? You think you're going to hold me? All right. So thanks for tuning in. And again, I hope you enjoy all the shows that we have archived on YouTube of the big, oh God, I almost, woo.
Oh dear, no.
Not that show. Roland Pruitt's Kaiju Review. It's the blonde hair. It's throwing me off.
I knew it. I knew you love this blonde hair. I will keep it another week and let you decide. I knew it. I just knew.
It's quite alluring.
Thank you. You see, you both like it. It grew on you. Thank you.
Gentlemen prefer blondes, right?
Absolutely. That is what I'm thinking.
All right. Do I got to change the hair to blonde and all the ads now?
No. This is just like a new look, like temporary look, you know?
Okay. All right. So tune in next time, next Tuesday for Space Amoeba Yog, Monster from Space. A very silly movie. So we hope you enjoy it. Have a great time, folks.
Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Thanks.